Hello, everyone. Today I'm chatting with Michelle from Michelle Mark Holistic Movement in Cumberland. Michelle is relatively new to the Valley, and she is a multifaceted practitioner who is servicing everybody from pre and postnatal to children to adults with injury and special populations, as well as athletes. She has a myriad of tools in her tool belt and is able to sort of apply what's needed depending on who you are and what you want. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about, I know that what you do is vast. So can you tell us a little bit about how you serve our community?
Yeah, so I am a movement teacher and more specifically a Nat Banyal method neuromovement practitioner. And I'm also a registered kinesiologist. And I have a small private practice in Cumberland, and I offer small group classes there and also private sessions. And like you mentioned, I work with a variety of clients from children with diverse needs to elderly and individuals dealing with pain or rehabilitation. And I have a special place in my heart for postpartum women and lots of education in that area.
You have a small family, right?
I have a big family.
A big family of small children is what I meant.
They don't feel small these days.
They don't feel small.
Yes, I have 3 kids, and they're 5, 7, and 9. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's busy. And they're all home right now.
They're all home. So I think we're on day 30 or something of that nature. My 9-year-old said, "Mom, are you keeping track of the days on the calendar?"
X's on the wall.
And I was like, I am counting. I am. It's, those are hard-earned days right now.
Yeah. Well, we're thinking about you. So can you give us some examples of why somebody in a pre or postnatal situation would come find you?
Yeah, I work with a lot of women who come because they have an issue. So there's, the typical issues of incontinence, which is leaking urine. And there's prolapse issues that some women will experience with heaviness or, worst case scenario feeling of something falling out. But then there's also women I work with who are coming preventatively, even in pregnancy or before becoming pregnant. And they are just wanting to be guided to be more in touch with their selves and more aware of their movements and how to prevent any of these issues from occurring. And I always think that's a really great time to start because once you have a baby, it's not as easy. Always, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not as easy to, book all these appointments for yourself. So if you already have those tools with you, then that postpartum period can be a lot smoother. Yeah.
Nice. And also, do you find people know what neuromovement is?
No.
Do you want to, can you sum it up?
Cool.
Yeah.
Neuromovement is essentially a neuroplastic movement method that works with the organization of how we're moving from a neurological perspective. So as a kinesiologist, I'd help people with, say, a squat or working within the mindset of the physical body. Neuromovement's more, I'm more interested in how you're thinking about executing that movement and finding ways to help people move easier and more sustainably. Mm-hmm. So that is typically a lot less effort than what they think it's going to require.
I feel like we've really evolved, or we are our society really puts a lot of effort into movement and the doing of the movement, and we've sort of moved away from our body's ability to move and how it's designed to move. Something that I have appreciated about taking your classes before is that we are designed to move in specific ranges of movement with ease, right? And especially if somebody who's been in chronic pain or pain, that sort of the brain goes towards the loudest bit, right? That's what something I find, or we get really focused on the pain spot. But if we can give our body an example of ease, it has the ability to move towards the ease, which is something that I've really appreciated about your classes, and something that I try to bring into my classes as well, which is a totally different modality, but something that is important to me as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. The first class I took of yours, I'm going to tell this story. First class I took of yours, I've told this story so many times actually. And we're like doing the class and I'm really into it. We're doing all this great movement in our right rib cage and our right shoulder. And I'm like, wow, this is great. Can't wait to compare this to the other side. Then I started, like, my teacher brain started to kick in and I thought, oh goodness, I'm not sure we're gonna have enough time for the other side. And I'm thinking, uh-oh. And then class was finished and you're like, yep, we don't do the other side there. And I'm like, oh, mind blown, we don't do the other side. And it just created this literally a whole week of thoughtfulness and how I felt. It just really brought that whole attention to tapping into my own body and really just noticing, not having to be equal, not having to have some sort of predisposed exercise system, but just really that exploratory way of moving and noticing. And that's it, which was amazing.
And then you're your own teacher, right? It continues. You get so much more out of it when I find when the students or the clients are empowered to pay attention to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The lesson goes on well beyond that hour, right?
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So how has your practice been affected by this situation?
Yeah, well, it's been closed. So
big one.
Yeah, so because I have 3 young kids, I plan to take March break off anyhow. So it has just extended. And obviously classes have stopped and all private sessions have stopped. I do offer some online sessions one-on-one with people where I guide them verbally through the movements, and I can watch them on Zoom or on other modalities, and that is effective. Because I'm home with 3 kids now and I'm kind of their teacher / mom / cleaner / cook, I've had to, I've had to carve out some boundaries of what I can and cannot handle. And to be honest, I've had to turn clients away in the last few weeks because I can't emotionally, mentally handle trying to squeeze that in on top of the load that I'm suddenly handed. So
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I am working on a website, and that will be hopefully released next week, which will be an online offering of mindful movement sessions. And that is fulfilling me right now because I can work on that in the wee hours when I'm, not parenting, and I can still maintain contact with my clients and hopefully reach new people with an accessible online library. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So are you able to, you're busy with a young family and a totally different situation. What kinds of things are you applying to help keep yourself in a healthy space?
Yeah, good question. So I practice what I preach. I do a movement session, a mindful movement session every night before bed. And typically before this COVID happened, I am a runner. I'm still that person. am a runner in the sense of, track workouts and long runs and all that jazz, working on a training program. But I know that when I'm home with my kids, I need to find balance, and they're really high energy and can be quite demanding on me and on my nervous system. So I tend to not do a lot of high intensity anything when I'm home with the kids, and I do these mindful movement sessions that settle my nervous system, and then I can be more grounded and present with them during the day. But it's definitely a practice and something I have to maintain to parent well, in my opinion. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. And that's where I find working on this website is, positive, because I'm writing sessions and recording them, and then I'm going through them and doing them myself, and I'm really able to then get a sense of what I'm sharing, but also benefit from it, right? I am my own student, and I'm moving gracefully and smoothly, and kind of at the end of every day, smoothing out all the tension and the tight bits that are arising.
That's great. A full integration of what you're teaching. That's great. How do you see the wellness community, your practice, sort of moving forward or changing from this situation?
Yeah, I see that there are so many online offerings now, to the point that it's nearly overwhelming probably to most people. I think when this all passes, a few things will happen. One, the public will value health practitioners and studios more, and kind of just like what everyone's posting about, they can't wait to hug a friend or this and that. I think everyone will be so much more grateful to have the ability to walk into its studio and share space with others and practice together and have that energy. I also think that touch is so powerful and healing, and for many people it might be so much more apparent right now that it has been eradicated, right? So that void might be very powerful right now for people. So getting back to a place where we can feel each other's hands and touch and movement. And I also see a positive, though, in that I think there's an opportunity right now for the public, I'll call them that, public or students or clients, to be practicing on their own and exploring different modalities and getting out of their habits, right? Some people have the same teacher for 30 years and go to the same studios or whatnot. Here's this opportunity to try something new and to listen to other teachers' words, or also to just explore on their own and become their own teacher, their own guide. And I think that's a really huge benefit to this time, and then go back to classes perhaps in the future or not, and be able to have confidence in themselves and feel like they can tell themselves when to stop, when to keep going, how far is too far, and all that jazz.
Yeah. And how do you see wellness providers, practitioners, instructors supporting each other?
Well, there's this, which you've generously reached out to me, and I think that there's lots of different connections being made online again, where small businesses and practitioners are trying to support each other. And I know even outside of the health realm, I'm trying to support all the small businesses, and I've posted about that recently, about trying to think longer term, and I hope everyone is, about what we want our lives to look like when this passes. And do you really want to only be able to shop at Amazon and big box stores? And I know I definitely don't. So I'm putting all my effort into supporting Seeds in Cumberland and the local refillery, and Blue Spruce Ice Cream delivered ice cream to my house safely last night, and there's lots of, and Dark Side Chocolate, and there are all these small businesses doing what they can, and I want to help keep them in business, and I want to be able to walk into their stores one day. So I think the same goes for all the health practitioners. If they have an offering, I want to know about it. I want to share it. I want to try to support them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if we could just keep things running through this time, then we'll be here at the end. So that's great. Support everybody. So do you have an exercise that you would like to share with us?
Yes. Can I give it to you though?
Yeah.
Like, can
you want me to do it?
I'll like, do you have a chair? Are you on a chair?
I'm not on a chair. I'm on the floor.
Oh.
You want me to sit in a chair?
That'd be good. Yeah.
All right. So a quick setup change, and here we are. Michelle's going to talk me through the exercise.
Okay. So we'll do this seated in a chair, which you've now gone and brought to the computer, and come to sit at the edge of the chair so that you have room to move in all directions, and just get a sense of the two bones on your bottom. So the ischial tuberosities, or if we can, let's just call them sit bones. So you feel those two sit bones. Let's keep it casual and just get a sense of where they're meeting the chair. You can keep your eyes open or closed, do whatever makes you comfortable. And bring your palms to rest on your thighs. And just get a feeling right now of how you're organized. Notice from your feet, scan up to your knees, up through your up thighs to your pelvis. And if you come across any unnecessary tension, just see if you can let that go. And then to the pelvis, feel your tailbone, work your way up your spine between your shoulder blades to your head. Just get a sense of where your head is in relationship to your pelvis. Notice how you're breathing, how much effort there is in your shoulders, in your neck, in your jaw. And now imagine that there's a clock under your pelvis. So you're sitting on a clock, and 12 o'clock is behind you, and 6 o'clock is in front of you. So 12 is behind your tailbone, and 6 is in front of your pelvis. Begin to put more pressure, so roll your pelvis to put more pressure on 12 o'clock. So you're going to roll your pelvis backwards a little bit, and then come back to sitting in your neutral, and just do that a few times, just exploring how smoothly you can do that. And if you notice any sticky or bumpy bits, just don't judge yourself, just notice and just see if you can do anything to soften that movement. Notice that your whole spine is probably rounding. Notice what you're doing with your head. Maybe your head comes forward a little bit. Would it be easier for you to roll your pelvis back and allow your head to come forward? What about your chest? Are you holding your chest tight, or can you let your chest soften? And notice if you're breathing while you do this. And now begin to go the opposite direction. So from neutral, begin to roll your pelvis forward to put more pressure onto 6 o'clock. So you're rolling your pelvis forward towards 6, only as far as it's easy and comfortable. There should never be any pain or stretching. And notice what you do with your lower back, that there's probably a little bit of an arch. So you're going from neutral, rolling your pelvis forward to 6, feeling the arch in your lower back. Notice what you're doing with your abdominals. Can you let them be free? Let your belly just be free. Perhaps even expand your belly as you go forward. Do what you need to do to make it easier. Again, notice what happens in your chest. You can see your head's moving a little bit, which is great. Feel the movement going all the way from your pelvis, up your spine, to your head. And now put them together. Roll all the way back to 12, and then all the way forward to 6. Feeling your spine rounding into that C shape as you come back, and really arching and growing tall as you come forward to 6. And then just stop in the middle and take a moment in sitting and just feel now. You've just done one tiny snippet of movement, but just feel how that's impacted your feeling of yourself right now, of what you notice about how you're sitting. If you feel more stacked, your spine on top of your pelvis and your head at the top. Maybe even your breathing, if it feels easier. And then let that go.
Ah, feels good.
I had to really stop myself from keeping going. It's gonna loop you into an hour-long session.
And in this episode, we will be 2 hours.
I miss teaching, I think.
Totally. Yeah, I think we all do. It's so nice to be able to. It's nice to be able to connect with you today, and it's nice to be able to get the brains going, get the body going a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. And so where can we find you, Michelle? We are, you have the website where you have now, and then the website that you're working on. Do you want to just tell us what those are?
Sure. So the online mindful movement library will be at www.movementrx.com. And my private practice website is www.michellemark.ca.
Great. So I hope to see you soon in person. I will give you a hug.
A virtual hug.
That's right.
We'll touch.
Yes. Feel that energy. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you have a fantastic day, and you stay well and your family stays well, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Okay. Bye.